Welcome everybody to Better Planning, Better Outcome. Just another week. We are getting down to the wire. Oh my gosh, it has been an amazing time to be able to just go through all these different steps to be able to help you guys to prove your impact through the method of evaluations. And so today it's a little bit different. We're going to have a special guest, and so I'll introduce her before she goes, but just briefly just talk about what we went through last week. We talked about this different stage, ultimately, of different stages of identifying what type of help that we need when we are doing evaluations. And so we talked about this first stage. And so this week we're going to go into this next stage in that, but we're going to stay tuned for that because it's going to be right after Miss Kim Evans does her testimonial. And so ultimately, Kim, she is a person that is the CEO of Hope for Kids in Philadelphia. She runs a Camp Hope for Kids, so at campground as well. Really CEO, founder, president, all of the above is what she does. And I've been able to assist her in the method of evaluations. And so she has actually become my boss as well. And so I'm just being super encouraged to do that. But Kim is here as just really I'm thankful that she's here just to share some of the work that I've been able to do through just focus grants and assisting just Hope for Kids. And so with that, Kim, you have the floor.
All right, I put my stopwatch, so I'm going to time it for about 10 minutes. Jameson told me, because I know you have other things to do. Thank you, Jameson. So I met Jameson at camp, and we were dreaming of what we could do together while he was there one summer. So it's pretty cool to watch it come to life. But I appreciate what he's doing. I appreciate so much focus grants and helping nonprofits to improve their impact and to measure the impacts. So for me, my full-time gig and what I get paid to do is my husband and I work in the ministry. This is my volunteer gig, and I often say it's a hobby that's gotten out of control. And we started very small. We started 26 years ago with Jace taking a small group of kids to a camp in Virginia, and we really wanted to help them develop faith, but now it's developed into, it's here outside of Philadelphia in Schwenksville. It's 14 programs. We serve the inner city. We serve kids from all different states. And every year, except probably this one because of COVID, it's become quite a global event that kids and youth and volunteers want to come in and be with us. We have about 3,000 participants go through each summer. But it was really great because what we did, I was thinking back and reflecting, beginning working with Jameson and also with his wife, Laura, but it began that he asked us to sit down with just one of our programs and say, let's do a fishbone diagram. And we sat in my living room, and I had all the people around that were a part of it, and he's asking us questions, and it was a really wonderful experience. But what was really exciting was to see the story he told after we did it, with the impact that we have and understanding who we are, and also helping us really understand what it means, because we're always broke and we're always needed to raise money. So how can we use the impact that we have? And it was great. But then simultaneously last year, what happened was an individual did a financial evaluation of us as well as a property evaluation of us. So all the stars aligned that everything that we were doing, we were beginning to evaluate and look at. And I honestly, last year, with COVID and everything that went on, thought that it may be kind of when the fat lady sings at the opera and it's over, as they say, that it was a really great 25 years. I just didn't know if we'd make it through. And by the amazing contributions, helps, the government, even the guidance that Jameson and others doing an evaluation, I think we're in a stronger place than we've ever been, which is absolutely miraculous to me. And it's so inspiring. But at one point, what I did was I went to Jameson and to Laura and I said, okay, if I handed you Hope for Kids and said, okay, it's yours, absolutely, what would you do with it? Like, how would you organize it? What would you do? Tell us I want to hear everything. And we sat down and looking at our programs, looking through the measures, looking through even the bonefish diagram we did, talking to all the different volunteers, we came up with an executive team with 7 different branches with a director of operations in the middle. And each of the areas was property, service, fundraising and development, marketing, measures, programs, and partner relations. And it's only through working together that we've been able to come to that level of clarity. And, you know, we've been bumping into each other because we're trying to learn to work in our lanes and do what we do well and all of those things. But it's just been refreshing. And even in some of the meetings, you know, Jameson will say, it's nice to be in an organized organization. So I really appreciate that. But what I want to share with you guys is read a little bit of a fundraising letter that we sent out just a couple of like 2 weeks ago. And I wouldn't have been able to have this letter sent except the work that we've shared together. I realized that this is not the final edit that I printed out, but I'm going to read it to you anyway. And if you hear any missteps, you'll know that prayerfully we pick them up along the way. But I'm just going to share 2 paragraphs in the middle of it. It says, with your contribution of $25,000, we were able to raise over $350,000 through a 25 More campaign. In the year of 2020, even amidst COVID-19, 84.6% of the 17 youth participants strongly agreed that virtual Camp Miracles not only helped each individual to see themselves as a positive role model, but see that becoming a positive role model is attainable. Even though all programming was virtual, 77% of the youth participants still indicated that they would strongly recommend Camp Miracles to their peers. 2 Liguori Academy youth participants participated in our pilot pre-apprenticeship summer program concentrating on youth holistic workforce development. By the end of the program, both participants developed tangible skills in carpentry, plumbing, landscaping, and painting. For the 2021 camp season, we're hoping to have 300 Camp Miracles participants and mentors. 60 of the 300 participants will be from Liguori Academy, participating in leadership internship under Camp Miracles. We are expecting a 289% increase in Liguori Academy participation from the year 2020. The cost of this goal at $600 per participant and mentor would be $180,000. We are asking if UIF is willing to donate $90,000 to cover the cost of 150 campers and mentors, which is half of our goal. We invite you to join us to meet this goal and change the lives of the underserved youth in Philadelphia, along with the lives of the mentors that serve them. But I have to say, in that, you know, we were a very good-hearted nonprofit that did a lot of work, and we didn't know how to communicate it to our donors and to corporations. But I have to say that Jameson has helped out tremendously in us communicating what we do in a way that's motivating. Thank you.
Come on, Kim. Thank you so much. Wow. Even reading back that letter and even bringing up the time that you asked us just about how you would organize Hope for Kids. Honestly, we were shocked. We really were, just the humility in that. But while you're here, I do want to open it up for if Harriet or Monica, you have any questions for Kim. I just wanted to create that space briefly before continuing.
Kim, I'm wondering if you would be interested in making a trip back to Michigan to visit your aunt and uncle, and then, you know, take a little drive 10 minutes down the road to set up a little meeting with me. That would be awesome.
You're on mute, Kim. You're on mute.
I would actually love to do that, Monica, because I actually do want to go see them. It's funny enough.
Yes.
Monica, can I ask you, what is your company, your or your organization?
So we are Children of Promise Development Services, and our one of our primary, we have just 2 programs right now, and our most fun program is our camp. And we're starting out small, and I'm just so encouraged listening to you, and especially after 26 years. But yeah, we take the kids from the city, and it's usually Saginaw, Flint, and Detroit. Those are usually where we get them from. And we take them out to my co-founder's farm, and they have her family has an 80-acre farm. And
Crazy.
then we just do a bunch of stuff with them that, you know, they would never have the opportunity to do in the city. And yeah, so that's that. Yeah, and I've been talking to Jameson about that, and he's been screaming about Hope for Kids. So
Wow, Monica, that's unbelievable, because we started at a farm with 40 kids. That's where we started. And
wow.
to where we are now, it's been mind-blowing, the journey. I just have to say, it's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, I've got to get all of your information, and just, you know, honestly, I would love to just sit and talk with you about, you know, that would be so awesome.
Well, and I really want to go see my aunt and uncle. So maybe we'll be in touch. Let's do that.
Okay.
James, you can give you all my information. We'll talk. Let's do it.
Sounds good. Sounds
Okay.
good.
Yes, I'll make sure
going
to
to camp
introduce everybody through email.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll make sure to introduce everybody through email so to connect you guys.
It's great.
Thanks.
I started my life was changed going to camp in Michigan. That's why I do what I do here.
Oh, wow. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Come on, funny how that works, you know, connections.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I always actually played around with this, but I always thought when I saw the movie Hitch, I thought it was Hitch. And so to a lesser degree, I guess I get to continue that. But anyway, hopefully you guys have seen the movie Hitch. If not, it doesn't make sense. Oh man. But yeah, thank you so much, Kim, so much. And I will truly connect all of you guys by email after. But yeah, thank you so much just for your testimony. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I have one more question, if you don't mind.
No, definitely.
When you sat down with Jameson and Laura to do the first time you sat down with them, do you remember like how long it took you to go through the process, or, you know, or did you have things already in place and you just had to move them around?
No, we had nothing. We sat down, we were a blank slate, and they asked us questions. And I think it took us about 2.5 hours that night, I think, too. But it's an inspiring thing, because Monica, even hearing you talk, what happens is what I found is we were doing more than I realized we were doing. And we were very unified in our thinking, all of us in the room. But we hadn't put it into words. And when someone asked, well, why is it so great? I couldn't speak the language that was needed.
Yep, I understand.
But I knew we were. Yeah.
Totally understand. Yes. Okay.
No, that's a great question. Because I really value people's time. I really do. And it's amazing the things that you can get done in a short period of time. And so that 2 hours, it really was an intentional and a purposeful 2 hours, where every minute was really taken captive of. And so where by the end, they were able to communicate, no, oh my gosh, this is what we do. And like Kim was saying, this is the clarity that we have. Like, I didn't even realize this. And so that's why I love the power of stories, because it was creating this story that was already there. You just didn't know how to communicate it. And so, yeah, I thought it was awesome, because it's how much you can get done in that period of time. It doesn't have to take 3 years to do that. It's sort of just like conversations, like a lot of conflicts can be resolved in a matter of someone sitting down and having that conversation with intentionality. And so,
yeah, I had a vision of it taking, like to 10 hours or something. Overnighters, slumber party, you know, kind of thing.
No,
Thank
not that.
you. Thank you.
Hi, Harriet.
Hi, I just want to say that I was glad to hear that I'm not the only one who can't speak the language. And I know we'll get there, but in the beginning you feel just lost. But Jameson is humble and he just wants to walk us through the process, and we appreciate him.
Well, and it's interesting, Harriet, because I met with the gentleman, the person I wrote that letter to is my neighbor right next door. And
Okay.
And I met with him before I wrote the letter, because I also have somebody training us on development. And she said, you don't write anyone anything without talking to them first. So I have all these people telling me what to do, how to communicate. So I went over, and when I shared the numbers and the stuff that the information that Jameson fed me, like I took the lead on how I'm supposed to tell him in person, and then I took the numbers. The appointment went so well. He was so blown away. And then we wrote the email, and I'm like, this is so not me. But
Right.
I want to be at the camp with the kids, having the impact and changing their lives, and on the phone with them is what I want to be. But this part's important. And
okay.
so anyways, it's been really encouraging, but no, I went as far as to say, I'll do anything, but I will not fundraise. Like you know how you say you're not going to.
Oh yeah, that's a whole nother piece to the puzzle.
So guess what I'm doing? So anyway,
the fundraising, because the money needs to come.
It does, and I can do it. So I have to have people help me and help me.
Right.
Their language. So he's good.
Right.
He's really, he's good. So anyway.
All right, Jameson.
Come on. No, thank you so much. Yeah, seriously. And I mean, even to add to that, I think the amazing thing is that me helping you guys and saying the very things that I would help you say, it sounds different when I say it than when you say it.
True. Okay.
And we all have to realize that because you guys have cultivated those relationships with those people and the people you're serving and those donors, it can't come from me. There's power in it coming from you.
Right.
And because you guys have the passion that's along with it, rather than someone that's sort of in the background, just of being able to bring to light that passion. And so not really undervaluing the power of your voice. And I wanted to take the time to say that your voice is very powerful, because you guys are the visionaries behind the very nonprofits that you guys have created. And so.
Cool. All right. On that note, I'm going to sign off and let you guys get to work, because I know he has things. See you.
All right. Nice meeting you.
Bye-bye.
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 Thank you so much, Kim.
Bye, Jameson. Thanks for the opportunity.
Definitely. And we will have on the 17th, so next week, we'll have another guest speaker come in from a different organization. And so this is awesome just to be able to hear that, but to just hear just a different type of help. It sort of plays into what we've been talking about. We're always going to need help. It's going to be in just different types of ways. And so just to play off of like last week, we were going over these 4 questions to identify that type of help. And just to refresh you guys' memory, it was on a scale from 1 to 10, how often does your organization already evaluate your programs? And so going in, how much time, how often, longevity, how much time have you been doing it? If you're doing it more and more and more, then ultimately you're going to get better at it. And so that does play a huge factor in how good are you at evaluating stuff, evaluating your programs and events. And on a scale from 1 to 10, how strong do your donors think your organization is at evaluating? And then also on a scale of 1 to 10, how strong do the people in your organization think they are at evaluating? Really just to factor in looking at your strength. Do you really see yourself as this is a strength, or identify your organization as this is your strength, but do donors also identify? And the last question being on a scale from 1 to 10, how experienced or mature in knowledge is your organization at evaluating your programs? So there's a little bit of a difference between doing it over and over again and having knowledge and maturity again. I can be doing the same thing over and over again, but not having the knowledge really to back it up. And so just because I'm doing it over and over again doesn't mean I know the stuff that I actually should be doing the right things. And so we also want to look at the knowledge and the maturity when it comes to evaluations. And so ultimately we were focusing on the stage one, the I do, you watch, we talk. And so if you scored, so to go over those scores a little bit, if you scored between a 1 to 3 and between a 1 to 3, then specifically in those evaluations of that programming, that's probably the stage that you're at. So if you scored a 1 to 3, you're probably in this stage one of I do, you watch, and we talk. And so what that means is really that I'm doing 100% of the work, really, and you guys are watching. And I think that it's interesting when I consider stage one to be learning with a hands-off approach. And so usually when I say that to people, they have this negative connotation immediately of hands off. Oh, wait, no, like someone has to do this for me. Like, wait, why? Why in the world? Why can't I do this? And I think it's interesting when I go back to the example with my father. So he did a lot of construction and contracting work growing up. And if I would have tried to help him before him telling me what to do in order to help him, it would have been destructive to his work. And so before me actually helping him, I had to know what I could do to actually help him. And so what he had to do was he had to show me what to do. I had to watch him. And so we jump over this step because it makes us, maybe sometimes a lot of my friends, it makes them feel somewhat insecure. It makes them feel less valuable, as if like they can't do anything, which no, it was never meant to be seen that way. Just sometimes it's okay for us to take a step back and watch so that we can then go to the next stage and be able to help. And so very similar to what my father did with me, it's the same sort of idea when coming to helping nonprofits, helping you guys. It's first going to the stage one of you watching me do everything. And honestly, it's, even though I'm doing 100% of that work, it is 100% work of watching. Watching is really hard. It takes a lot. It's very humbling. It takes a lot of energy. I don't necessarily like just watching people. I sort of just like doing stuff like, let me just do it. But with that being said, it takes a lot of energy and effort for me to sit back and watch, because I'm not a person just to watch. I'm more of my wife would call it an executioner. I execute. That's it. I just execute. I learn on the go. But I have to be humble enough to say that, you know what? It would be so much easier if I watch somebody first to then know what to execute rather than figuring out what to execute on the go. And so that's why I really stress the first stage. It's not meant to be seen in a negative connotation at all. It's actually meant to be seen in a positive one. It's a positive spin to it. It's actually an amazing opportunity to take the time to watch first so that you can be effective as you're helping. And so it's just a different twist to that, a different way of thinking about that. And I thought it was really important just to say. But stage two, which is what we're going to be going over today, and this really just what that specifically looks like. So practicals at that. Stage two is I do, you help, and we talk. And so what you can do is go over those same 4 questions of a scale of 1 to 10, figuring out where you guys are. And if you guys landed at a 4 or a 5, then you're probably at stage 2. You're probably at this stage of I'm doing, you're helping, and we're talking. And what that means is that we're sharing the work. There's 50% of the work. And so there's a shared responsibility where I'm doing 50% of the work and you're doing 50% of the work. But the work is just different. So I'm doing the 50% of the hands-on type of stuff, but you're also hands-on, but 50% of helping. And that's 50% of you all helping me as I'm going through doing that evaluation. And so thought it was also important to note that when I look at this practically, evaluations is very broad, as we went over and created an entire workshop on evaluations. Even when someone says evaluations, it's very broad. And so we have to go through the specifics of evaluations. So looking at your rating when it comes to identifying the problem. So problem construction or problem deconstruction or identifying the solution or logic models, all those things are at play when it comes to evaluations. And so when we look at a rating on how well we're evaluating, we also have to look at specifically our rating in these specific areas. So maybe you're really strong at logic models, but you're not necessarily strong at identifying the problem. Well, those are two different things in evaluations. And so sometimes it just takes the time to break down what that evaluation means as all the stuff material that you guys have learned. And so to be very specific, let's go over some different examples. So let's go over like problem construction and deconstruction. So in problem construction, it's identifying the problem, but as you're constructing it, you're asking yourself, why does it matter? And then deconstruction, that was the creating the fishbone diagram and asking, what are the causes of these problems? Well, if you're at the stage of I do, you help, we talk, well, you already passed the watching me do it for you. And so now, rather than just watching me, now you're helping me fill it out. You're helping me construct the problem. You're helping me answer these questions of why does this problem even matter? You're helping me answer the question of what causes this problem, but you're also helping me fill it in. And so you're helping me write this story. Rather than me writing it for you, you're helping me along the way. We're walking together, if you will, as we're writing this story when it comes to problem construction, deconstruction. Second example, identifying solutions. Maybe at the first stage, it's you know solutions, you know the different solutions that you have, but you've never actually taken the time to look at how do you connect this solution back to the problem? How do you know this solution addresses the actual problem? And that's a familiar question, right? And so you've watched me through even these courses to be able to take you to how do you identify this solution as addressing this problem. But now it's then me walking with you, you walking with me as you're helping me fill out that connection piece through that fishbone diagram. And so that's what it specifically and practically looks like. And I'm only going over practicals because I want to take it from theory to practicality, from theory to empirics. And that's why I'm going over specifics. And hopefully this is helpful for you guys as you implement this. But the last example, it could be logic models. And these are only 3 examples, but logic models, as you've watched me know how to, or watch me fill out a logic model and going through the inputs, the outputs, the outcomes, and what's working, what's not working, what needs to be changed. You've seen me do it, but now it's individualizing, working with you guys, and you helping me to fill it out as it, when I say individualization, based off of your organizations. And so it's filling out the information based off of your organization, and you're helping me do that. And so if you're at again, 4 to 5 in this, then that's where I'm helping you because you've surpassed the stage of simply watching. And honestly, watching this class, that has been the first stage. And now it's taken to the next stage of awesome. Now, helping you guys to be able to do that and filling it out. And like you heard from Kim, it doesn't have to take long. It definitely doesn't have to be a whole retreat that I'm used to. Actually, I'm used to this whole retreat idea where it takes all weekend just to bring unity amongst the organization, because I've sat through them and it almost feels like it's forced unity. And then you almost just want to be unified in the end just to get out of the retreat. But no, it doesn't have to take that. It can take really 2 hours to simply be able to identify all this stuff in terms of helping you guys and evaluating the programs in this specific ways. And so these are just 3 mere examples of what it specifically and practically looks like when you're at a stage of being at I do, you help, and then we talk. And we always end with us talking. And it's so important. In every stage, you're going to end with us talking, because us talking through things helps me to see, what do you see? Helps you to see, what do I see? All right, how can we meet eye to eye? What's the best way we can move forward? And so we always want to end up talking. And I love talking because most people don't talk. That's probably a reason why a lot of problems in society are happening now, is because we just don't talk. And so that's why I always leave it at, we have to talk. We have to talk about this. Let's talk through it. And so every stage you're going to end with talking. And so what we're going to do next week is stage 3. And so stage 3 is a little bit different. It's you do, I help and we talk. And so it's still 50% and 50% of the work, just the type of work shifts to where rather than I'm doing it, no, you're doing that. And now I'm taking on the role that you had before and I'm helping you. And so we're just switching roles. And so that's super important because, again, it's with the intention and the purpose of you being able to develop into this stage where you need me less and less. And that is so important because it is really just counterproductive for you to always need someone to help you. At least need me. It's counterproductive just to need me. I'm flattered, great, but at the same time, I want you guys to fan into flame your organizations and to flourish. And so that is continuing to grow and continuing to grow and continuing to grow. And so it's ultimately getting you to this place of being able to really have sustainability amongst your own organizations. So for you to have internal evaluations that are so strong that once you invite somebody to do an external evaluation, which is going to happen because organizations or donors or the municipality or government donors are going to ask you to do that. And your internal evaluation is going to be so strong, they're just going to pull from that. And they're just going to be like, wow, you know what? We actually just don't even, we're just going to do this evaluation simply because it's protocol, but we really just don't need to. And it's funny, I've seen it happen at World Vision, which I didn't think was possible, but their internal evaluation was so strong that when they hired someone that was an external evaluator, it looked the same. And I was like, oh my gosh, why did you hire an external one? Well, simply because of protocol and just getting an outside view. But their internal evaluation was so strong that the government was willing just to go off of that. And that is how strong I want your evaluations to be. So strong, in fact, that they can, if they had to compare between an external evaluation and an internal one, they can choose yours and it would be perfectly fine. That is the level of evaluation that I want to get you guys. But that's why the next stage we're going to talk about is stage 3 of you do, I help, and we talk. And so again, next week, we're going to have someone else from another organization, One Day at a Time, come in and explain some of the work that I've done for him specifically. And so that is the end of this week. And if I'm now open for any questions you guys have for this content.
That's a pretty lofty goal to have our internal evaluations be, you know, just as good, if not better than an external evaluator. Just in the sense, I mean, and I don't mean it negatively that it's a lofty goal.
Yeah.
You know, but I never thought of it that way. I just assumed that, you know, an external evaluator would have a more detailed, you know, a better, for lack of a better word, evaluation than something that we would do on our own. But you're saying that you can get us to that place that we can do that. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, very much so. Honestly, I was with you until I saw it like in my face. Like I saw a piece of paper with actually 2 pieces of paper of internal evaluation, external one. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? It's the same thing. And for them to teach me how they were doing that was ridiculous. But that's the same thing I did for Kim in Hope for Kids. I just took the same thing and she was able to now communicate the stuff to the people that she's speaking to. And the reason why I think that's so strong is that we can't wait for external evaluations all the time because you guys are always on the go. There's always somebody to talk to. You never know when you're going to run into somebody that you're going to need something in your elevator speech to be able to talk to them. And so external evaluations, they take a good amount of time. If you want a really good one, they can take up to a month to really do. And the financial evaluation that we had, it took about 2 months for Hope for Kids. And so we don't have that much time. That's 2 months of waiting when we could be actually using something to attract other donors. And so that's why you want it so strong, because it's not that it discounts the external evaluation. It's just that you need stuff right away.
Mhm.
And so you want to always have that on hand. You just don't want to be waiting for the information and for you to tell a donor, we're actually waiting for evaluation to get done. That would really stink,
Mm.
for lack of better words. That would really stink.
Yeah. So it would be like, well, we don't know. We're waiting for, someone else to tell us. And so,
Right.
yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing, your expertise with us. That is, again, I never really understood the purpose of evaluations, but just for my own personal, I'd like to evaluate, but I never could, apply it. And now I see very much so how important it is to have, strong evaluations.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Come on. That's huge.
Mhm, mhm.
Mm.
So
I'm
Jameson,
learning.
oh, sorry. What'd you
I'd
say,
say
Harriet?
I'm learning.
Yes. We're
I feel like
learning.
I'm back to the drawing board.
It's a lot to digest. It's just so
It is
much
a lot to digest.
No, yeah, it is. But so Jameson, are you saying that we are going to, will we go through all 4 stages, or do we start at different stages?
So usually you're going to go through all 4 stages.
Okay.
It just depends on where in the evaluation. And so sometimes you've done it so many times that you're not going to start at stage 1
Okay.
for some part of that evaluation. But sometimes in the other part, you may be starting there. And so those questions just sort of help you in figuring out where in that evaluation are you sort of starting out, whether in the logic models or the problem deconstruction or stuff like that. And so either wherever you start, it's still the way I sort of created it is it's the same steps to be able to help wherever someone's starting. It's just different time. And so it's just a different amount of time that I'm able to devote to that because you're just starting different places, which is fine. But so same steps, different time, but you could be starting in different places very much so. One. Harry, do you have any questions?
No, not right now.
Awesome.
Not right now.
Well, I will send this out right after this, and I'm super excited just to continue this journey with you guys, honestly. Please let me know just if you need any other help or anything like that. And so I'm looking forward to just continuing this journey again with you guys.
All right. We appreciate you.
Most definitely. Yep. So have a great weekend.
All right.
You too,
Take
Harriet.
care. All
Bye.
right. Take care, Monica.
Bye.